Hey, what's up guys? Today we're going to be doing a Dead by Daylight tier list. So this will obviously change quite a lot once the Trickster's actually released, because he's getting a lot of changes coming up. But this is sort of so far how I think the killers are in Dead by Daylight. So let's just get started. So Demogorgon. I feel like Demogorgon is one of those killers where if you put a lot of time into him and you can get his shreds like really good, like you can use them really well at like pallets and like get them destroyed really quickly, and you're good at like, using them at windows. I feel like he's actually quite strong, and also he's got his portals, but unfortunately he can just be destroyed quite quickly. So I think because of all that, he's quite a mid-tier killer. He's not very high on the tier list, so I'd probably say he's a B at the moment, in my opinion. He's not really bad, and he's not really good either, so just even, hopefully his buffs in the mid-chapter will make him better. Okay, Ghostface. Ghostface, he's got the 99, which is what, it's basically Michael Myers, but you just do it for separate people. He's definitely the best stealth killer in the game, but he's very add-on reliant. If you don't have the time to recharge your power add-ons, you're going to be just an M1 killer the whole match. So because of that, I'm going to be putting Ghostface with the same tier as Demogorgon, because if you don't have the add-ons for him, he's pretty useless. You can still use him, but you might as well just play Wraith. Leatherface. Okay, so since the buffs, I'd probably say he's definitely not down here where he was. He was almost in Freddie's tier at one point, but I'd probably say Leatherface is getting up towards the BA now, because the way he just destroys pallets instantly and then he has all of his charges back straight away in like 5 seconds. That's so strong, and he can get around most loops now as well, so I'm definitely going to have to put him in A at the moment. He's definitely viable at high ranks if you know how to play him properly. Very basic killer. Clown. Oh, I do like playing Clown sometimes, just laughing around the map. I think that's quite funny, but this new bottle that they made for him is just, it's not enough to put him up above B. He's just, survivors will just abandon the loop or drop the pallet down early, and there's no point playing him at that point. You might as well be playing Bubba and you can just destroy the pallet straight away. I think even if you're using Pinky Finger, for example, he's still not a very good killer, because you have to be able to aim it properly. At that point, why wouldn't you just play Eerie Huntress, because you can throw it at range. Without the time you've thrown it and it's hit the survivor from 50 meters away, you're not going to be able to get there in time for the exposed to still be on them. So Clown's definitely C tier, unfortunately. Sorry, Clown mains. Doctor. I feel like Doctor's just one of those killers that's just like really annoying. He isn't really a killer that I'd say is powerful as such. He's just kind of there, and if you play him and you know how to time his shots, you're good. But most Doctors aren't, because no one really mains him. So he's definitely better than Clown, but I wouldn't say he's better than Ghostface, so he's going just behind Ghostface at the moment. Hag. Oh dear. I'll probably say Hag is probably one of the most boring killers in the game for me. She doesn't really do much. She just is kind of there. You're very good at camping. If you've got someone in the basement as a Hag, it's pretty much GG. Where do I put Hag? I'd say if you're using her at red ranks and you're camping really well and you know where to place your traps, I'd probably say A. But no one really likes going against camping, so yeah, I wouldn't recommend that. Hillbilly. This is a tough one, because they nerfed all of his add-ons down now, and he's so hard to, if you haven't been playing him since like release and you don't know how to turn with him, it's very hard to get to learn now, and I find his power to be quite hard to use. So even though he can get around the map quickly, it doesn't really matter, because most of the time you're going to be M1 in people, because people can just shoot your chainsaw so easily now because your turn add-ons are so bad. But I think because of all the map pressure that he has to go in A at least. Huntress. Oh, Probably one of the most balanced killers in the game, as long as you're not using Eerie Head because that add-on is very broken. Very balanced killer. She has lots of counterplay. The good Huntress is very scary. I'm not too sure. Huntress is definitely going an A for me. She's a long-range killer, she can snipe people across the map. And that feeling when you just get someone that's on the other side of the map on the gen is like the best feeling ever. Legion. Oh. Well, if this was like release Legion, he'd be in D because that was the worst thing ever to exist in this game. But I'd probably say Legion is a solid C tier. He's definitely not as good as Clown, but the ability to get everyone injured at the start of the match if they're all grouped together, that's an insane value you've got there. You definitely need to practice your M1 chasing skills with him. So if you've got that down and you're able to frenzy people easily, you'll probably do quite well with him. Combined with like Blood Echo, Fanatophobia, all those perks, you'll probably do quite well with him. But high rank survivors know how to loop and they're not too scared because they'll just use perks like Dead Hard to counter you. So I'd probably say he's a C tier for now. Yeah. Okay, Freddie, straight S. Right now, Freddie is probably arguably the strongest killer in the game. He has so much tools at his disposal. He's got his snares, he could use his pallets. Pallets are not as strong as snares because snares slow you down. Pallets, you can counter it. You can use windows of opportunities to counter it. I've noticed that recently, survivors using that against me. So I just tend to use snares at the moment. And it's basically just Clown with map pressure. And his add-ons, and if you do the Forever Freddy build, even though it's kind of nerfed now, he's still very strong. Like, he slows down the game to a crawl at some points, and he obviously extendo arm Freddy, who doesn't want that. Yeah, I'd say Freddy, until they nerf him, he's going to be one of the best killers in the game at all ranks. Nurse, S as well. There isn't really much to say about Nurse. She has a lot of map pressure. She definitely is a very hard killer to counter, especially if you don't have that many hours. A good nurse against like grey and green rank survivors, you're definitely going to destroy. People need to know how to corner GQ, etc. to be able to counter nurse, otherwise she's just going to destroy your team. But at rank 1, which is where I play most of the time, I find nurse to be quite easy to counter as a survivor because I've got so many hours and I know like the charge time of her blinks and when and how she'd be able to actually get to me. So even though Nurse is an S, all the nerfs to her, she has to be very precise on her blinks, otherwise she's just going to be in fatigue half the match because she's got the cooldown on her blinks now. So yeah, Nurse is good, very good. I'll probably say Freddie's better than her at the moment because Nurse just takes a lot more skill. But if you've mastered Nurse, Nurse would be up here above Freddie. But yeah, Oni, I'm gonna have to put Oni in A. Oni is one of those killers where I think if you can do the flicks with him, if you can do corner turns, like everything like that, you're gonna be like destroying people, even at red ranks. Like, obviously, the only problem with Oni at the moment is you have to be able to at least M1 one person for you to get your power. And a lot of survivors at the start, especially at high ranks, will just drop the pallets down straight away so that you can't get your power for the first like minute of the game, and that can be quite detrimental because you need that map pressure as Oni, otherwise you're just an M1 killer. But once you've got your power, you're just going to be dropping people left, right and centre. Slugging machine Oni. Pig. I'm sorry, Pig. Pig is just... I think she's just becoming a meme at this point. It's really sad because I like using Pig. She's one of my favourites, to be honest, and I think I just like the aesthetic of her. It's not really so much that she's a powerful killer as such. The way she, like, the squeaks at the pallets and stuff, that's so cute. And I find that dash to be quite underwhelming at most loops because survivors will just leave them, especially at high ranks. Lower ranks, they'll probably stay and you'll get the hit, but That's just the first hit, you've got to chase them still if they're not injured. And her traps, the traps are just not good. The RNG on them is way too high. They need to do something about that, seriously. So until they fix the traps and her dash becomes a little bit more useful, Pig's going to be in D tier, sorry Pig. Plague. Plague is a B tier killer. She is like Legion, she can get people injured very quickly. All she has to do is just tap her vomit and she just injures everyone, especially if they're all together. You can just vomit on everyone and they're all injured within the first minute of the game, which is powerful. And they can't heal unless they use a fountain, which is better than Legion. But unfortunately, even after the change where she's got extra fountain, I still find her power to be quite underwhelming and it's very inconsistent. When you're at the start of the match, I find when I'm puking on people, the survivor will act as if they've got infected, but they actually aren't. So you're just walking around trying to infect people, but it's not achieving anything. They'll make the sound like they've got infected, but nothing actually happens. And I think that's probably a server-related issue, but until that's fixed, that's definitely going to be a problem. So Plague's gonna be there, and obviously she's got her crop purge, but the survivors can deny that off, and she can just have one pull the whole game. So she's just kind of like Legion at that point. So yeah, probably say Plague's B for now. Michael, I feel like Michael takes too long to get out of tier 1. If his add-ons got him out of tier 1 a lot quicker, if there was an add-on based on getting him out of tier 1 quicker, he would be much better. But at the moment as it is, he's just kind of like Oni, but with no map pressure. And obviously, he's quite a stealthy killer, but he definitely isn't the most stealthy in the game, because once you've hit tier 2, you've got a terror radius, so why wouldn't you just use Oni and have the massive map pressure that you get with him, or play Michael with a 16 meter terror radius with M1? It doesn't make much sense. Yeah, you can 99 the stalk and then go up to someone on the gen and scale them, but that won't work on red rank survivors, and if someone's bringing Spine Chill, then you're basically fucked. So yeah, Michael's just low for now, he's not very good. Spirit. Spirit is one of those killers where she's very hard to go against because she has basically no counterplay. You can't see her coming. If you're in her terror radius when she's using her power, she basically is invis and you can't have any idea where she is at the moment. And at loop, she'll just destroy you. But I find with Spirit, even if she's destroying you at loops, I find Jen still fly very quickly. And I think that's her problem. Even though she can down people really quickly, you've got to factor in Iron Will, you've got to factor in if the Spirit play is good or not, and what survivors you're going against. And if all those three things are combined, I think Spirit can actually be quite, not underwhelming, but I'd say she's going on borderline mediocre. And I know lots of people hate going against her, but the fact that she doesn't have much map pressure because her phase, she doesn't want to be using it around the map too much, otherwise she won't have it at the start of the chase, which is her most powerful tool, is using it in the chase. So yeah, I definitely say Spirit is A tier. She's not up at Nurse tier still. Nurse is still the best at high ranks, along with Freddie. Trapper. Oh, poor Trapper. Trapper is just... I can't get over how bad Trapper is. He's such a cool killer in design. I think just the whole idea of putting bear traps around the map, that's quite cool. It's very basic power though. He's not very interesting, but it's quite cool just being in a chase and all of a sudden the survivor stepping on a trap. That's cool. But most of the time what happens in a trapper game, you'll be putting your traps around the map, 2 gens will pop, and then you'll go towards your area where you're trying to protect with your traps and your 3 gen that you're probably going to have out, and the survivors will just disable all your traps. And then now you're just an M1 killer. And I just feel like he needs a little bit more in his kit to be more viable at red ranks. On low ranks you'll be able to destroy people because they won't know where you put your traps. But most survivors at higher ranks will know roughly where you're putting them at like a shack window, etc. So yeah, he's good at lower ranks, but at higher ranks people know how to go against him, so it's not that good. Wraith. I think Wraith after the changes is definitely a mid-tier killer. He's in the B. He has a longer lunge now when he comes out of his ability. He has a lot of stealth potential. Being able to block people at windows as well is very strong. I've gone against quite a good handful of good Wraiths recently, and they're definitely quite scary. But I'd definitely say at higher ranks, especially if Spine Chill's in use, the whole power of the Wraith is just negated, because the Spine Chill just counters every stealth killer in the game. Yeah, you can look away from the gent when you're walking backwards, etc. But who wants to be doing that? They just want to play the game normally. And by the time you've got over to the gen, unless you're using Mindbreaker, the survivor will be halfway across the map. And I think even though he has that new ability where he's invisible past a certain distance, I still think that he needs a little bit more in his kit to be able to surprise survivors more. Spine Chill is just, in my opinion, I think Spine Chill is one of the most overused perks in the game, especially at lower ranks. It just gives you an idea where the killer is too quickly, and it destroys stealth killers. So yeah, I'd be putting Wraith there for now. Just change that around. Demo is definitely not better than Ghostface. Deathslinger. Deathslinger is also B. He lacks map pressure, which killers need, otherwise Gen's just going to be flying. He's got this kind of same situation as Spirit, but Spirit has a map pressure tool. They're both 4.4, which is not very good. Like, most killers these days should be 4.6, otherwise you're gonna, no matter how good you are in the chase of Deathslinger, if you're hitting all your shots, the time you're gonna have to take to get to the gens that are popping, it's not gonna work. So yeah, fortunately Deathslinger is going to be in B tier now. Very annoying to go against because it's hardly any counterplay. And yeah, so Deathslinger is in B for now. Pyramid Head is an A tier killer. He has counterplay, but the counterplay he has is very small, and I feel like with Pyramid Head he can be quite underwhelming against good survivors. Most survivors will crouch over your trails, so you can't use his power to its full potential, and they won't allow you to use it at loops. So you'll place down your sword in the ground at a pallet, and the survivor will just quickly move to the side, and you won't be able to get them in animation. And I think that's quite annoying me to play as. That's why I don't play him very often. I find his power to be very survivor dependent. So yeah, I don't like going against him personally, because all the Pyramid Heads I go against are really good. So yeah, to go against I'd say he's quite boring, but to play as he's very, I'd say he's quite hard to master. So yeah, Blight. I love Blight. I don't know a single person that doesn't like Blight, or playing him or going against him, unless you're on console and you're having to use your joysticks to move around. That's quite awkward, but on PC, Blight is so fun. Like, who doesn't just like bouncing around the map? That's so fun. So yeah, Blight is definitely one of those killers where I say you need to know the tiles of the map, you need to know how you're going to be bouncing around the map and using it for map pressure. But other than that, I'd say Blight is a very solid killer at the moment, and you should definitely be using him. Twins. That's my main. Twins. Twins is definitely an A killer in my eyes. The ability to have two killers on the map, and I'd say she's very similar to Hag, very similar to Hag, where you can place Victor at an area where you think survivors will be when you chase them as Charlotte, and then switch to Victor as soon as you've hit them, and they won't know that you're coming because your Terror Raiders will just go, and then you're all of a sudden there, Victor, and it's a quick down. And I know a lot of people like to use them in a way that's quite boring to go against, like camping and slugging, but I feel like at high ranks, even though most people say you need to use slugging to win, I'd say most of my games I've probably only slugged in like 20% of my matches where it's like a sweaty survive with friends, which you kind of have to because people will steal Victor. But other than that, I think twins are actually a solid killer and people aren't using them correctly. Definitely an A tier for me. Trickster, no. Trickster's D tier. He's down with Pig and Trapper. If the changes to him aren't significant enough when he comes to life, he's going to be, I think he'll be worse than Pig. He's got no map pressure at all. His blades, you can throw them across the map, but it's no good if you've got to hit 8 of them to injure someone. He's definitely probably the worst killer in the game at the moment. And it's a shame really because he's such a cool design and it's... I feel like the killers that they're making at the moment are they're quite unoriginal and they're quite like almost like a copy and paste. Like it's basically the Joker. The throwing knives, yeah, it can be quite annoying to go against if you're in an open area, but if you're behind a wall, you can just dodge his whole power. So what's the point in using it? Yeah, definitely a D tier now. Anyway guys, thank you for watching. I'll be uploading a lot more videos in the next coming weeks, and I hope this tier list makes sense to you. Actually, wait a second, I'm just going to move some around. Hag is better than Baba. Huntress is better than Billy at the moment. Spirit's here. Hag's got quite a bit of map pressure. Twins are above there. That's how my tier list is at the moment. Thank you all for watching, and I can't wait to hear what you think about my tier list.